In this video, we're going to go over the options that we have here on our status bar. We have covered dynamic input, which is this one. We covered in the last video. I showed you the ortho mode, but I'm going to come back to that. So in this video, we're going to go over some options we have here on the status bar that they're going to be very helpful for our drawings. There are some drawing aids that is going to make our lives a lot easier when it comes to drafting. So again, this is a status bar we talked about previously on the coordinates. So let's talk about some of these. Actually, I put it back. So let's talk over some of these. First of all, this one here, this is called the grid mode. Whenever you have your mouse on top of any of these tools, it gives you the name. So that's our grid mode, and then in parentheses it has the function key F7, which means that you can turn on or off either by clicking them or by pressing on the function key. For example, the grid mode, it's on. You can see it there, how it's highlighted. That means it's on. If I press it, that's gonna turn it off, so we now don't see the grid in the back. By default, the grid is gonna be on, okay? Again, press it, turn it off, or I can just press the function key F7 and it's going to turn it on or off. Okay. In my case, I prefer it to have it off, but I'm going to leave it on just for the purpose of the video. So that's our grid mode. It gives you a visual of that grid that we discussed in the previous videos. Next one, we're going to find snap mode. Function key for turn on and off, that's going to be F9. So it's off. Okay. So when it's off, now you might say, well, I don't see any difference. Well, now you will see it. I'm going to go to line, and notice when you do line and your snap mode is off or deselected, you have freedom to do your line or your point at any point here. And notice how precise it is. But if you have it on, notice what's going to be doing. See how it's jumping? It's snapping to certain points. Okay? Those are going to give me the increments of the points that you're selecting. Okay? If you see here, if you see at my dynamic input, you notice how it goes up by 0.5. So here I'm going, see how there's 3? If I move my mouse, it's going to jump automatically to 3.5, 4, 4.5. Notice that it's jumping. So when you're working and if it's doing this, you're trying to do your lines and it's snapping, it's jumping from point to point, it's not giving you the freedom, more than likely you have your snap mode on. Now, the spacing here, right now it's going by half, it's going by 0.5. Now, if you come here to snap settings, you can change that spacing. Right now it's going by 0.5, you see right there? So it's jumping at every 5 or 0.5 of a unit. So if I change this to 1, for example, on X and Y, and automatically it's doing both because we have here equal X and Y spacing. Now notice that if I do a line, it's going to be jumping from point to point. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's snapping. It snaps to those points. So try it on your computer so you can see it, so you can see how it is. You try to move your mouse and it's gonna just snap to those points. So try that. Usually, more than likely, you won't need this feature, but it's there. And usually I show the students because some students have it on and they're like, sir, my mouse is doing something weird, it's jumping. Well, it's because you have your snap mode on. So snap mode just has you pick points and it jumps to the specific spacing you have selected. But more than likely that's going to be off, that we have freedom to click wherever. Dynamic input is going to give you information there right in front of you that you can input or it's going to give you information that it's going to be useful for you. Gives you angle, and you can input the distance right then and there. Okay? And let's do one more, and then we'll do the rest in a different video. This one right here that I showed in the previous video is called Ortho Mode. Function key to turn on and off, it's F8. What Ortho Mode does, it sets your lines or your movement to either horizontal or vertical. Okay, for example, right now when it's off, I can click and I can make a line at any angle. See how the freedom to go, see how it's picking up the degrees, 8 degrees, 10 degrees, 14 degrees, whatever. So I have the freedom to do that. But when Ortho is on, that's right there, Ortho Mode, when you have it on, it locks it to either horizontal or vertical. If I try to, see I'm moving my mouse, it's not picking up, staying at 0. Until it goes up, then it's gonna move it in either 90 degrees or back to 0. So Ortho is very useful whenever you wanna keep your line straight, or if you're moving an object and you want that object to be moved, for example, on the x-axis 20 feet, and you want for it to go straight, not at an angle, it's very good to use Ortho. So Ortho locks your lines and your movement to either horizontal or vertical. Very useful. And as we go, we're gonna be using it to make sure that our lines are correct. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Ortho is to lock your lines either horizontal or vertical. When you have it on, you're gonna notice. When you have it off, you're gonna have the freedom to do it at any angle. Okay, so all these are gonna be used to make your life a lot easier when you're drafting. They're gonna give you visual and also drafting resources so you can do your job a lot more precise and a lot more easier. Okay, so we went over the grid mode, snap mode, dynamic input, and ortho. Next video, we'll do portal tracking, we'll do object snap tracking, and object snap.